Yo, what's good, YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoot, back with the International Trainers League Season 5, week number 13, taking on Alpha Drops, coach of the Rocky Mountain Marowaks, in the season finale of the regular season. He has a team of Landers Incarnate, Rotom Wash, Tangrowth, Mandibuzz, Mamoswine, Terrakion, Rahiniclus, Acelgor, Entei, Meloetta, and Stantler. And of course, we, as always, have Victini, Manaphy, Shaman, Zapdos, Cofagrigus, Nidoqueen, Florges, Lucario, Sneasel, Druddigon, and a Rangaroo, where Lucario is our Z-Move user. Of course, we don't pack one this week, and Reuniclus is his Z-Move user, and he doesn't bring it at all. That being said, he has some threatening mons on his team: Terrakion, Mamoswine, Entei, which all pressure my team very heavily, especially Entei and Mamoswine together. I don't really like. I'm between Zapdos and Manaphy. I have to be able to take on both those mons. Of course, I can revenge kill it. Both mons, pretty. What's the word? Pretty safely. But of course, he has a defensive core in Rotom Wash, Tangrowth, Mandibuzz, and Reuniclus that can just put a stop to my offense as well. Which is why I bring some powerful breakers and a very, very solid defensive core against his team, in my opinion. I bring a defensive Manaphy with Toxic, Surf, U-Turn, and Knockoff with leftovers. Especially defensive Shaman with leftovers, Leech Seed, Toxic, Substitute, Energy Ball. I am mono grass, but Toxic and Leech Seed will help me wear down anything that resist grass type moves. And I do have the sub there because Tangrowth can't break it unless it's very offensive. Mandibuzz could potentially not be able to break it. Rotom Wash can't break it. But Acelgor's Bug Buzz can bypass my sub and probably not OHKO me. I mean, probably OHKO me. I said not, but I was going to say knock me out, but I said OHKO, but whatever. So I think this set can put in a lot of work. Next up's mixed defensive Zapdos with a little special attack investment. Volt Switch, Hidden Power Ice, Roost, and Defog. Shuckerberry, Stealth Rock, Nidoqueen with Dual Stab and Ice Beam with Timid Nature, Speed Creeping. Actually forget what I'm speed creeping. I just had this game a couple days ago and I forget what I'm speed creeping. But anyways, I'm speed creeping something with the Sheer Force ability, max special attack, little bulk investment, little special defense, and defense investment. So pretty solid Nidoqueen there. Next up is going to be Dewara, my Sneasel, which is a Life Orb set. This thing is a potential lead if he brings Acelgor, but actually excuse me, I actually think I decided against leading with it, and I believe I lead something else. I think I lead Zapdos. I'm not really sure what I'm going to lead. I do pack the Fake Out and the Ice Shard, which can potentially knock out the Acelgor. Knock off and Icicle Crash, of course, for Dual Stab. Life Orb set with Inner Focus, so I can't be flinched. But yeah, I think this thing can put in some work, as well as my last mon Lucario, my boy Crixus here, with the Life Orb, Swords Dance, Close Combat, Bullet Punch, Extreme Speed. So I have Bullet Punch there for after Swords Dance. It's pretty much guaranteed to knock out a lot of his mons that aren't super bulky. Between Bullet Punch and Extreme Speed, I can OHKO the Terrakion and the Acelgor after Swords Dance, and Close Combat makes it to where Rotom Wash, Mandibuzz, and Tangrowth all drop unless the Tangrowth is very physically defensive. So it's a very, very nice breaker against his team, as most of his pivots or defensive mons are pretty slow. Lucario can set up a Swords Dance. It doesn't take much from any of his mons as well, except Rotom Wash if it wants to go for the Swords Dance, but I could potentially be a Lumset Berry, or a Lumberry set. Lumset Berry. So that's the team, and he brings Terrakion, Meloetta, Acelgor, Tangrowth, Mandibuzz, I blanked there for a second, and Rotom Wash. So my plan here was to be able to use Manaphy and Shaman to toxic all of his defensive threats, and to use Nidoqueen and Sneasel to put everything in range of a +2 Lucario. So his 3 mons on the right, which are most likely his defensive mons, after a Swords Dance, just drop to close combat. And then the other ones, I think Meloetta probably drops to close combat as well. And then Acelgor potentially drops to a +2 Bullet Punch, but Extreme Speed does more damage, so most likely click the Extreme Speed. And Terrakion is a Rock type, so it's weak to the Steel type, and Bullet Punch will knock it out after a Swords Dance. And most likely it might be bulky enough to live, but also, going to try to get rocks up and can weaken it down with the rest of my mons. So that being said, we will start into the match here and see what he wants to lead with. And I actually do lead Manaphy as he leads Rotom Wash. So trying to think of why I led Manaphy. Potentially to catch his Terrakion on the lead, since it's his only Stealth Rocker. I don't really remember why I led with Manaphy. And he could have led with a Acelgor as well for spikes, or like a Final Gambit set or something. Or maybe he predicted me to be a fake out Ice Shard Sneasel and he leads Rotom Wash. Either way, I can't stay in. I'm going to switch out to my Shaman, which is my designated switch in here. Take 10% as he goes out into Mandibuzz here. And I am just going to throw off a Toxic here as he taunts me. So now I can just hard switch out here into basically anything. I'm going to go into Zapdos in case he wants to go for like a Brave Bird or something. And he actually does just that, so I'll take a little bit of damage there, not much. And I can proceed to Volt Switch out, as he has no electric immunities. And he does bring in his Tangrowth here, so I can go right back into my Shaman and potentially set up a sub as he goes for the knockoff, I believe. And it's not going to break my sub, and I can click Toxic here on the following turn. But he does switch out into Mandibuzz. And I do get the lead seat off as he goes for the Brave Bird, breaks my sub. Could potentially go for another sub here. I think it's probably my best play. Yeah. And to get a little bit more Toxic and lead seat damage off on him. Throw off another Toxic here. Make sure, like I said, my game plan is to Toxic everything. Get everything in range of Lucario. And here we go. Now I just got to throw off an Energy Ball. It's my only attack and move, and I can get special defense drops. So there's that. Here I'm going to click sub once again as he hard switches into a Acelgor. Really good play. But I'm very familiar with Acelgor, and I know Bug Buzz bypasses sub, so I'm going to hard switch out into Zapdos here, as he does a hell of a lot, 30% with a resisted hit. So he does reveal Life Orb. So he's probably not a Final Gambit or Spike set. He's probably a offensive set, probably 4 moves, maybe 3 moves and spikes or something. I'm going to Volt Switch out here as he goes into the Rotom Wash, and he is Choice Scarf and tricks me in an item as I go for the Toxic. So now his defensive core is completely Toxic. I'm going to throw off another Toxic here in case he wanted to switch into one of his mons that isn't Toxic. And actually going to do the same thing here. I'm going to predict him to predict me to switch out, and I'm going to predict him to go for the knockoff as I go for another toxic. And he does predict me to switch, but he doesn't go for the knockoff, unfortunately. So here I am going to switch out and go into Zapdos on a potential Rock Slide. But I can roost this damage off and take little to none on the following Rock Slide. And then I can Volt Switch out. Really wish I would have switched into Shaman there on the knockoff. That would have been great. Get rid of that Choice Scarf. But that's okay. I'm going to Volt Switch out here, predicting him to switch. As he goes into his Meloetta, I'm going to bring in Manaphy here. Click the knockoff. Get rid of his Assault Vest, so I'm not fearing him to be any kind of setup mon now. And he does reveal Charge Beam, so here I can just go right back into Shaman here. I am Choice Scarf, and most likely not going to get my item knocked off since he was playing around that really well. And I can just click Lead Seed here. That way I can guarantee the knockout on the following turn here from Fake Out into knockoff. Just being super safe here, as I do take Life Orb Recoil, but I get it right back, so it's like I only took one round of Life Orb Recoil. Sitting back at 5-5 now, and pretty comfortable with that. He goes into a Selgor here, and I'm going to go right back into Zapdos as he Baton Passes. I'm thinking Baton Pass wasn't his play, but it definitely was. As you can see, I'm going to go for Stealth Rock after he set up his own Stealth Rocks, which is going to help me more than they hinder me because, like I said, my win condition here is Lucario, especially after we're getting mons that are potentially faster gone. It's going to be able to take it the Hydro Pump and U-turn out into Nidoqueen on the Volt Switch. And we get that right, so really good as he goes for the Volt Switch. Takes a little bit of toxic damage, and now Sludge Wave guaranteed knocks him out. So since my Manaphy outsped and my Nidoqueen, Manaphy, Shaman, and Zapdos are all sitting at the same speed, I knew that my Nidoqueen would outspeed and get the knockout there. That's why I stayed in. And he goes for the Stone Edge with Terrakion. He said he predicted me to be Scarfed, and he misses the Stone Edge as I get the Earth Power off, and then he gets the Earthquake off as I reveal my Sugar Berry and take him out with the Sludge Wave. Here I'm going to Hard Switch out into Zapdos as he is going to actually defog to help his Selgor live a little bit longer, and I can just Roost Up or Volt Switch out, whatever I want to do. And I do choose to Roost Up here, and now I can Volt Switch out or Hard Switch out. Yeah, I'm going to Hard Switch out, predicting the Rock Slide as it won't do much. And now I can just set up a Swords Dance here and basically just win the match. I don't think there's anything he can do at this point, because I do have Close Combat for his two defensive mons and Extreme Speed for the Selgor, and I am Life Orb, so most likely going to knock him out. Bullet Punch did a min of 93, but if he was had a lot of HP investment, then I didn't want to risk it and just clicked Extreme Speed because it was an overkill, and Close Combat going to be able to finish him off here. So Lucario picks up 3 kills in the I think 3 kills in the last match, and that's going to be it, the way we end our season with a 5-0 win, which is really, really nice. We needed that momentum going into the playoffs. After losing 2 straight, we pick up a nice win against a team that was on a nice winning streak. And that's going to be the International Trainers League Season 5 regular season finale. So that being said, we will move on to the playoffs and face either the Nevada Noivern or most likely the Texas Tyrantrums again, which is Nick. Of course, we have played twice this season, and he has won one match, and I've won 1 match. So going into potentially a tiebreaker here. So yeah, good game, Alpha. It was really fun. Really thought my Shaman and my Lucario put in the most work. And yeah, so that's gonna be that. And I guess that's it. So I'll see you guys for playoffs. I might make separate. No, I probably won't. What am I kidding? Anyways, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.